Hello, welcome to my channel. I am so excited because this is the first year ever that I will be joining the magical readathon. I know everybody gets so excited about this and I can't blame them. I am on board with the hype. I have been wanting to join this readathon for a couple of years now, but it's intimidating. And you might be asking, why is it intimidating? Well, for one, you have to build your character like you're playing a D&D game, and D&D intimidates me. So I kind of sat on the sidelines for a few years while I watched everybody do this. And then I broke down and I was like, I need to do this. I need to sit down and actually participate in this readathon because it sounds like it's going to be so fun. So fun. Here, I'm not going to go into detail about my character or any of that, but I will tell you about my calling, and I will talk about the books that I have to read for my calling. And for my Dragon Rider's license, I will tell you about that, but I'm not going to go into detail about the prompts. What I will do is I will tag the video down below or link the video down below with Book Roast G, her announcement video, so you can see all the prompts and what they actually are, what they mean, and all of that fun stuff. But here we're just going to go over the TBR. One thing I will tell you about my character is I'm going to fully admit to basing her off of my Baldur's Gate character. I'll post an image up here so you can actually see my Baldur's Gate character. I adore her, and so I just wanted to use her as my inspiration for this readathon. Also, my calling might have something to do with another video game that I absolutely love, and that's because my calling is Moon Warden. I'm sure you guys saw that coming a mile away. Okay, so for my calling, I have 5 books that I have to read, and then I decided I needed my Dragon Rider's license. So I have 2 books to read for that, and then I have to watch a movie or a show that features dragons. And I did pick Aragon for my movie because I really want my kiddo to watch that movie, and I think it would be something fun for us to watch together, but that's not set in stone. I'm not sure that Aragon's going to be where I go with that, so we'll see. But for my calling, the 5 classes that I have to take, I keep having to count, are Art of Illusion, Astronomy, Elemental Studies, Spells and Incantations, and Restoration. And like I said, I'm not going to explain what the prompts are for these, but I will link G's video down below. So for those, I have chosen for Art of Illusion, The Deep Sky. I'm so very excited for this. This has hit a couple TBRs of mine. It's on my 25 I want to read in 2025. I really loved The Stardust Grail. I really love that book. So I just want to read more Yumi Kidasai, and that is my excuse to put it on this list. Astronomy, I had to spin a color wheel and it landed on gold. And let me tell you, I don't have any gold books. I tried really, really hard to find something that better fit this prompt, but I don't have any gold books. And so I got as close as I could with another 25 to read in 2025 with To Cage a God. And this book I am so excited about. I do know that there is a heist involved. I love a heist. And so that's why it made my 25 in 2025, because my whole 25 in 2025 is about buzzwords. And that was the buzzword that got me. So To Cage a God, I'm finally going to read it. I'm excited. Let's go. Then Elemental Studies. Now, this one had to be fruit on the cover. That was extremely difficult for me, but I did have one that happens to be a horror thriller, weird horror, I don't know what to call it, post-apocalyptic, but Manhunt has cherries on the cover. And so I'm like, all right, here's my excuse to read this weird horror book. And, you know, you can see the cover and why it's funny to me. Anyway, that is what I'm going to be reading for Elemental Studies. And then Spells and Incantations, I will be reading A Sea of Unspoken Things. Now, if I remember correctly, this had to have words from the previous book that I had chosen. And the previous book that I had chosen was my Restoration prompt. So, A and of are the words that coincide. But G said you could do that. I totally spit at you guys. I'm so sorry. G said that you could do that. A and of, they count. It's a word. And if that's what you need to do, then it's totally okay. So I did choose A Sea of Unspoken Things because I tried to read it last month, but my brain said absolutely not. Or maybe it was in February. I don't know. I don't remember at this point. But I was enjoying it until I wasn't. And I think that had more to do with my brain fog than anything else. And like I said, we'll talk about that in a vlog or something. It doesn't need to happen here. But I'm so excited. I loved Spells for Forgetting, and I have The Unmaking of June Farrow, so I'm just really excited to read more Adrienne Young. In Restoration, the reason A and of were the ones that I chose to go with is because A Drop of Corruption. I'm so excited. Probably one of my most anticipated books of the year. I loved the first book in this series, The Tainted Cup. If you don't know, like I said, one of my best books of the year last year, and I need it. I need the second book so badly. I have been dying. I had an arc of the first book, so it's been a while since I read it, but I love the Sherlock and Watson-esque type story. I loved the atmosphere and the Leviathan storyline. I just really, really enjoyed everything about The Tainted Cup. And I do understand that it's a love it or hate it series, but I am on the definite side of love it. And so excited, so excited for the next one. I really need to get my hands on the UK covers though, because oh my gosh, have you seen the cover for, I'll just post it. I'll post an image of the UK cover of this book, and The Tainted Cup is just as beautiful. And then for my Dragon Riders license, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that I still have not finished Onyx Storm. So at this point, I'm gonna have to just start it over and reread it. But I really want to finish this. I know it gets emotional. I know so many people have loved it, especially the ones who didn't really like Iron Flame. They say there's redemption found in Onyx Storm. And I really loved Fourth Wing. I loved it. And I liked Iron Flame more than most, but Onyx Storm did not captivate me. And here's the thing. I hate whiny characters. I absolutely despise whiny characters. And Violet was driving me absolutely insane. I couldn't stand it. And so I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna go back and read it. But with all of the people who have enjoyed it, that I have similar reading taste to, I'm like, okay, it's time. I need to just go back, start it over, read it again. Could have been bad headspace and I was trying to push through. Don't know. We'll see. But also, one of my self-destructing books, I actually have an audiobook of. And I just filmed my self-destructing book, so you might see that before this. I don't know. But Dragon Champion by E.E. Knight. This is actually the point of view of a dragon. And so I've been wanting to read it for quite some time. I've owned it for a really long time. I just forget about it. And this is giving me an excuse to actually pick it up. Now, it has already self-destructed. The books are already in an unhaul pile, but if I really want to read them, I can read them via audio because I just don't need the whole series bogging down my shelves. They're short, so it's not like they took up a ton of space, but they took up space, and there's prime real estate going on here, especially if you could see the floor of my library. That is what I need to read for the rest of the Readathon for April. That I don't have any other obligations. Now, I'm the type of person who wants to fulfill every prompt. And I do this to myself knowing it's gonna bog me down, but I'm telling myself right now in this video, you guys are gonna keep me accountable. I don't have to read these books. These books have nothing to do with the readathon. It's just if I wanna read them, I can. And it'll go towards, you know, me participating in this readathon, not necessarily towards any other points, but you know, I just wanna do it sometimes. But if I don't want to later on, I don't have to. So I did pick a book for each prompt, except for Conjuration. I have not picked that one because the 5 countries that I randomly drew were Portugal, Paraguay, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and Somalia. And I couldn't find a book I actually wanted to read. So that we're moving on from that one because I mean, I'm not reading Heidi, guys. It's not happening. And I couldn't really find any other books that I actually knew what they were. and that were already on a want to read list or intrigued me enough for me to want to pick it up. Most of them were literary, and while I have been leaning literary lately, I don't think I'm ready to just full on take on a literary fiction novel that is going to have like some serious impact on my life. Like, I'm not ready for that. My brain's not ready for that right now. So for alchemy, I chose the Doll Makers. Now, this is one that I've heard Emily Fox talk about quite a bit, and I really like the idea of people making these dolls to protect them, and somehow a doll is going to protect people. I don't know. There's something about that. She talks about the world building and how intricate it is and how detailed it is in the magic system. And so I'm really intrigued by this one. I did purchase it on a Audible sale. It was 2 for 1. And so I got the Doll Makers during that sale. Animal Studies. I believe this is steal a book because the animal in question is raccoon. And so I stole Song of the Huntress. This is one I already wanted to be on the TBR. I already wanted to put it on my April TBR. I've been so excited for it ever since I got it. It's one I purchased for myself for my birthday. I love Lucy Holland. This is a book about the Wild Hunt. So combining Lucy Holland's writing and the Fey Realm, the Wild Hunt, all that stuff, I'm so very excited. Sister Song is one of my favorite books of all time. So I needed to steal that one. Demonology, I chose The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James because I've had it for forever. It's sitting right there. I can see it. It's a book of the month choice that I picked and I've been excited for. I loved The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, and I liked Murder Road. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was fun. I mean, it's a horror, but it was kind of fast paced, edge of your seat, more thriller horror, but I enjoyed it. I don't see what the problem with it was. So I'm excited to pick up another book by her. And I have quite a few on my TBR, like not this TBR, but my TBR cart in my floor. Artificery, I chose Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood because I have not read it yet, but it was also one I got on the Audible 2 for 1 sale. And so I love Ali Hazelwood. You guys know I read everything by Ali Hazelwood except this book. So I need to read it. I need to read it. She has some novellas that I haven't read. Recently, she did, I think it was one of the Amazon romance, some kind of romance thing with the short stories. I haven't read those. But I've read all of her STEMinist novels, and I have read Bride, which I do love. And, Bride, there's a new book coming out. We'll talk about that later. That has nothing to do with this. But Check and Mate, very, very excited for. And then lore, I chose The Harp of Kings by Juliette Marillier. I've owned this for a long time, and this was my excuse to get it onto the TBR. Psionics and Divination, I chose the Book of Witching. If I remember right, I had to pick a book about witches. And I have this on my 25 to read in 2025. I really, really want to read it. It's one that I wanted to read at the end of the year, and then I didn't, and somehow have neglected to put it on a TBR for the beginning of the month. So I'm very pumped for that one. And then Shapeshifting is dragons again, but this one didn't have to have dragons as a central theme of the book, even though this does have dragons as a central theme of the book. We're talking about dragon hunters. We're talking about environmental things that affect dragons. And Sorcery of a Queen, I have been meaning to continue this series for a year and have yet to do so. So this is my excuse. Again, I'm using this magical readathon as my excuse to pick up books I have neglected or that I have on my 25 and 2025. And I feel like that's a good goal. I feel like that is gonna push me to read the books I've actually been wanting to read. But that is it. That is it for the magical readathon and your Moon Warden. I am so excited. And I hope you guys will join in on the readathon as well. If you guys don't know what magical readathon is, like I said, I will link it down below. But how have you been a part of BookTube and not know what magical readathon is? All right, that's it for my video today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things now. See you guys in my next one. Bye.